Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator Weekly Overlook. Today I'll be covering the weather for the week of December 10th until December 17th. So starting off with our severe weather outlooks. By the way, sorry about the taskbar. I can't figure out why I can't get it to go away, so it's going to have to be there for the duration of the video or until I can get it away like halfway through the video. But as of right now, for today, we do have a marginal threat issued for the eastern coast of North Carolina associated with that cold front that is exiting out into the Atlantic Ocean for today. That is going to be clearing up a lot of the instability and moisture and pushing it out into Atlantic Ocean, leading to overall a much more calmer day, much more calmer week for the rest of the week as a upper level high sets in. And then for tomorrow, currently nothing is issued as far as thunderstorms, no organized severe thunderstorms or any general thunderstorms. And the same goes for our day 3 outlook. And then as far as day 4 to day 8 outlooks, we currently don't have anything forecasted. Taking a look at our WPC outlooks, starting off with the excessive rainfall forecast for today, we do have a moderate threat for Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, with a fairly large marginal, slight risk threat for flash flooding across a very large portion of the eastern coast there. However, that is expected to move out into Atlantic Ocean and leave a slight risk for Maine for tomorrow. And then for day 3, we aren't really expected to see all that much of a flash flooding threat. However, for day 4 outlook, we do have a small marginal threat for the southeastern coast of Florida in the Miami region. Same goes for day 5. We do have a marginal threat for pretty much the same location, as well as another marginal threat for a very large portion of western Texas, where we could be able to see a little bit of isolated flash flooding. And then we can also take a look at our winter weather outlooks. For today, we are expected to see quite a bit of heavy snow for the Appalachian regions up into the New England corridor, as well as a little bit more lighter heavy snow for the Rocky Mountains. And then for tomorrow, we are expected to see a decrease in the amount of snow that we are expected to see. Overall, this week, we aren't really expected to see anything too notable as far as snowfall, but we still are expected to see some snowfall in some regions. For tomorrow, we are expected to see a little bit of heavy snow for the upper peninsula of Michigan. Then for day 3 outlook, a little bit of heavy snow for New York and northern New Mexico. But the vast majority of our snowfall is going to be mostly expected on our day 4 to day 5 outlook, which is on Wednesday and Thursday for the high plains and the southern Rockies, mostly around the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, southern Colorado, New Mexico, and southwestern Kansas, where we could see quite a bit of heavy snow, which is going to be associated with a little bit of a shortwave trough in that region, which I will be going more in depth on. And then we can also take a look at what we are expected to see as far as our frontal systems this week. We are expected to see that cold front kind of push out into the Atlantic Ocean by tomorrow, and then late Monday into early Tuesday, we are expected to see a little bit of a cold blast impact the northern half of the United States. We are expected to see around 2 to 3 of these systems. Sorry about my dog in the background. We are expected to see around 2 to 3 of these systems impact the northern half of the United States, associated with low pressure systems in Canada, and that is going to be keeping things quite frigid in the northern half of the United States, with temperatures that are going to be staying mostly around mostly around below freezing, but by the end of the week it should warm up, and overall the vast majority of the United States is going to be having a little bit more of a warming trend, with temperatures that are going to be well above average, which I will be going more in depth over, as we are expected to see a little bit more of a prominent upper high pressure system take place across the vast majority of the United States, which is going to be allowing temperatures or heat to build across the United States. So it is expected to be quite chilly, but overall it isn't really expected to be extremely cold, and anywhere that isn't the northern half of the United States. Taking a look at our Jetstream pattern, again, as mentioned previously, we are expected to see a little bit of an upper level high pressure system set in, which is leading to overall not really a lot of activity in the jet stream, especially compared to what we have been seeing the last couple of months. We are expected to see a couple of systems here, though. Mainly the shortwave trough here that is going to develop across the western half of the United States and impact the Central Plains anywhere from Wednesday the 13th into Saturday the 16th before moving out into the Gulf of Mexico on the 16th. This is going to be leading to quite a bit of rainfall for the Central Plains, mixing with some heavy snow. Overall, we aren't really expected to see a severe thunderstorm threat come out of this because we aren't really expected to have any deep layer moisture or any ample heating to really support any instability to support a severe thunderstorm threat. So overall, we are just mainly expected to see some rainfall with that shortwave trough, as well as the threat of some flash flooding and some heavy snow. So again, not really anything too concerning with that system. And then as that moves out into the Gulf of Mexico, we are expected to see a little bit of a mid-level impulse develop in the Gulf of Mexico that is expected to move northeastward and impact the Gulf Coast states in the deep southeast, anywhere from the 15th, which is Friday, until Saturday, leading to quite a bit of widespread and heavy rainfall for the deep southeast there. And then in the north, as I was mentioning, those cold blasts associated with a little bit of low pressure systems in Canada. Again, you can see a little bit of a dip in the jet stream here, especially on the 12th here, associated with that low pressure system in Canada. Dip in the jet stream, and that is going to be what's bringing that weaker cold front and a little bit of some frigid temperatures to the northern half of the United States, which is going to be keeping temperatures mostly below freezing for a very good portion of the United States, or for a very good portion of this week for the northern half of the United States. But again, as mentioned previously, we are expected to see a little bit more of a warming trend by the end of the week because of that upper level high. And then we are expected to see a little bit of a wave impact the northwest coast here. But overall, nothing really too concerning is expected to come out of that, but we could see a little bit of rainfall on Wednesday in the coastal regions of Washington and Oregon from that. Taking a look at our composite reflexivity, I'm going to be going over the when and where you should be able to see our rain showers for this week. So starting off with tomorrow on the 11th, we aren't really expected to see any rainfall as that cold front is expected to push out into the Atlantic Ocean, but we are expected to see a little bit of snowfall wrap around that and a little bit of rainfall for Maine, leading to that slight risk for flash flooding in Maine, with quite a bit of snowfall back behind that on the 11th. And then we could also see a little bit of light to light heavy snow in the Rocky Mountains and some isolated showers across Oregon and Washington. And then for the 12th, we are expected to see that cold front and low pressure system in Canada lead to a little bit of snowfall for Michigan and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, possibly into northern Wisconsin, as well as a little bit of some isolated snow showers for some of the regions in the Rockies, but overall nothing really too crazy. And then for the 13th, we are expected to see that line of snowfall impact the New England corridor, leading to not really a crazy amount of snow, but a little bit of snow for the New England corridor on Wednesday. And then we are expected to see that low pressure system impact the Central Plains, leading to quite a bit of rainfall, quite a bit of widespread and heavy rainfall for the Central Plains, as well as a little bit of snow mixed in with that in some of the high plains and Rocky Mountains further off to the west. And then on the 14th, we are expected to see a little bit of a wave of rainfall impact the northwest here in coastal regions of Washington and Oregon, leading to a little bit of rainfall for the 13th and 14th. But overall, on the 14th, we are expected to see that rainfall continue for the Central Plains, and then into the 15th, we are expected to see that rainfall die down, with a little bit, with the majority of the rainfall being pushed out into Texas, with that mid-level impulse beginning to start to bring some rain to some of the coastal regions of the Gulf of Mexico. And then on the 15th, we are expected to see a little bit of rainfall continue to linger in Texas, with a very large amount of rainfall for the southeast there with that mid-level impulse. And then on the 16th, we are expected to continue to see some rainfall with that into the 17th as well. And then taking a look at our temperatures and how our temperatures are expected to be impacted by this cold front that is going to be exiting into the Atlantic Ocean, as well as some of the cold blasts that are going to be impacting the northern half of the United States, and how far south are they really getting to go. So overall, we are expected to see those two to three cold blasts impact the northern half of the United States, leading to some fairly frigid temperatures for the northern half, especially at night, where we could see well below freezing temperatures in the northern half of the United States. However, by the end of the week, we are expected to see the northern half of the United States warm up at least a little bit. With temperatures that could be getting up to the 40s and 30s in the day. Not really the greatest, but uh, it is what you like to see for December. Um, and then overall for the rest of the United States in the southern regions where we aren't really expected to see any impacts from those three cold blasts, it is going to be a little chilly. It's not going to be terribly cold though. We could see daytime temperatures range anywhere from the 50s, possibly getting up to the 60s in some of the more southern regions like Texas and the deep south. But overall, the average for this week in the southern half of the United States should mostly stay around the mostly around 40s to 50s, possibly getting up to the 60s in some regions. And then again, by the end of the week, we are expected to see a little bit more warmer temperatures compared to the beginning half this week, because of that upper level high that's going to be setting in, which is going to allow to heat to build across a vast majority of the United States. Again, we are expected to see some fairly chilly temperatures in some regions. It's going to be fairly cold, but overall mostly chilly, with temperatures that are going to be staying around the 50s and 40s, possibly getting up to the 60s in some regions. While in Florida, they are going to continue to bake almost like it's still fall in the middle of winter, with temperatures that could be staying anywhere from the 70s and 80s for a very good portion of this week. And then taking a look at our dew points, I'm going to be focusing on how our instability is going to be affected by the cold front that impacted this week. Overall, you can see in the Central Plains where we are expected to see the majority of our activity, and the trough that would be able to support the threat of severe thunderstorms if there was instability, and which there isn't going to be instability, because we are expected to see dew points are going to be ranging anywhere from the 40s to the low 50s, and that is hardly sufficient enough to support any type of instability. It would support at least weak instability if we had warmer temperatures. However, with temperatures that are going to be staying around the 40s and 50s, um, we are not expected to see any type of instability whatsoever. May be able to see very weak amount of instability, and that is leading to some very small and weak areas of supercell composite readings. But overall, we are not expected to see deep layer moisture and hardly any instability. So we are not expected to see any fuel to support the threat for severe thunderstorms this week. And then taking a look at our supercell composite, just so we can get an idea of if severe thunderstorms may be possible, which overall I don't think they are. You can see on the 14th here, a very small area of some very weak supercell composite readings for western Texas. That does indicate a very low and marginal threat, or a very localized, very small marginal threat for severe thunderstorms on the 14th. However, because of how weak it is, plus how weak our dew points and how chilly our temperatures are, I do not think that the threat for severe thunderstorms is going to be possible. And then supercell composite models are indicating that we may be able to see a low end threat for severe thunderstorms for Florida on some days, mainly the 16th and 17th. Overall, I'm not too certain about the severe thunderstorm threat for Florida. I didn't really look into it all that much when going over the weather for this week. So we will have to watch that over the next couple of days. Overall, I don't think we're gonna have all that much of a threat for severe thunderstorms, but indicated by supercell composites, it may be possible. Taking a look at our total snowfall precipitation, overall, this week we aren't really expected to see anything too notable as far as snowfall. Again, we are expected to see quite a bit of heavy snow for the New England corridor and the Appalachian regions. Um, but for this week, we aren't really expected to see anything too crazy. Across the Rockies, we are expected to see at least a little bit of snow. Some of it may be heavy, but we could also see some snow for some of the southern Rockies and into the high plains. And that's overall as much. That's overall as about it as far as what we are expected to be watching for snow. Taking a look at our climatology outlooks, overall the vast majority of the United States is expected to be seeing above average temperatures. Those temperatures are going to be getting into the 40s and 50s. And even possibly up to the 60s in some regions is definitely well above average for the month of December. Um, and we are seeing up to a 70% chance of temperatures being above normal for a very large portion of the United States. However, in the deep south, deep southeast, and deep southern Texas, as well as a small portion of southern Texas there for the very southern tip, we are seeing up to a 40% chance of temperatures being below average. But then we can also take a look at our precipitation outlooks or our climatology outlooks for precipitation. And overall, the vast majority of the United States is seeing overall the threat of precipitation being below average, but a few areas like California and some of the western coast, as well as some of the eastern coast and Florida, are seeing up to a 50% chance of precipitation being above normal, with the vast majority of the United States seeing below average threat of precipitation, with up to a 60% chance of precipitation being below normal for two areas. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator and join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. If you notice anything might have been wrong with this forecast, or you'd like to make a suggestion or ask a question, please leave a comment. Two other channels that I highly suggest you check out are One Nation Weather and Weather Watcher. The link to their channels will be in the description. And hopefully I'll be able to see you guys on Wednesday with a Wednesday update.